This is Buster, not to be confused with the Buster from Mythbusters, but this is Buster the dog, and this is Buster's roadmap to success. Isn't he a good-looking boy? So in this session, we we focused on the inside the house stuff. Buster, I think, was a little bit confused as to where his position was in the house. He didn't really have very many rules, not being on the furniture. Well, most furniture is one of them, and that was pretty much it. So he has another issue that we might come back to fix in a month. We're going to see how he does. He likes to run through. He has an electric fence, and I think it's because he thinks he's a guard dog, and because his guardians didn't really have a lot of rules for him. We taught him how to use the dog bed. We're calling this one Hawaii. Sit. It'd be better if you sit here facing the camera. You're very handsome, buddy. It'd be better if they could see your face. Come here. Sit. Okay, well, we'll do it that way. So basically, we started off by talking about exercise. I went through some creative ways of exercising, throwing the treats up and down the stairs, using a laser. I suggest the family gets an iFetch, and if he has difficulty using that, when we come back to work on that, we can teach him how to use the iFetch as well. And he likes to play fetch, and then we can do scent games. Come here. Hawaii. There we go. Sit. No, you have to sit on Hawaii to get the treat. You're going to figure this out. Okay, so start the exercise journal, write down the time, a new page for each day, write down the time and how many repetitions of the up, downs, and the stairs or whatever it is. Remember, the first time you do all these exercises, sit, sit. You're going to get there, sit. First time you do these exercises, go a little bit more. There we go, buddy. So the first time you do these exercises, yeah, it's very good. Make sure you do it with an empty stomach and the max amount so you know how many his maximum number is. And again, you're going to exercise probably about 50 to 75% of that. So write down also that he freaked out the mailman or whatever these things are. I'm going to kind of hold you here, buddy. I'm going to rub your belly so it looks better in the shot when you're with me. So play around with the elements and write down any, if he freaked out about somebody walking by or breaks the electric fence or whatever it is. So then we can start seeing what time he did these things. We start noticing, every time it's longer than this period of time, that's when he gets in trouble. So we're going to start upping his exercise. Also, if he is quote unquote naughty, ask yourself, how long has it been since he's had exercise? If it's been too long, that might be the culprit. So I want you to interpret it when he's being naughty, not as him being naughty, but as his way of crying out and saying, I need a little bit of help. I need a little bit of exercise. All right. So we also talked about rules. Some of the rules, if anybody's eating in the area where the family is not supposed to eat, like right here in this room, he shouldn't be on the carpet. He shouldn't be on the carpet when the family's eating at the dinner table. We're going to imagine an imaginary boundary around the work island. He's not allowed to go in the kitchen when we're preparing food, or around the dinner table when we're eating food. The rest of the time, he can come and go as he pleases. Has to sit before we let him in and out the door. We go say sit once and say it very assertively, and he has 3 seconds to comply. If he doesn't comply within 3 seconds, then we walk away, sit down, preferably somewhere he can see us in the house. So he's like, oh man, he's having a great time. I messed it up by not sitting. Wait 1 minute, go back and tell him to sit again. If he doesn't sit this time, I make him walk away for 2 minutes, then I'll walk away for 4 minutes, then for 8 minutes. I keep double length of time until eventually when I say sit, he sits down, then I open the door. So sitting down is what causes the door to open. Eventually right now he's pretty good about sitting in the door anyways, but sitting is more subordinate position. I also went over passive training and petting with a purpose. Passive training is waiting for him to organically offer you the behavior you want. Every time he comes to you, pet him and say, come. Every time he sits down, pet him and say, sit. Every time he lays down, pet him and say, lay. If he drinks water, say agua. Come up with a funny word that means to eat food. So every time he eats food, maybe we call it picada or whatever your favorite dish is. And I'd have the boys come up with a suggestion each, and then mom and dad, and then at dinner time, we talk about it, and mom and dad have the final say of what the actual command word is. But if you use those fun command words, that's added motivation for him to want to listen to those things. And also, it brightens the mood. So passive training is just waiting for him to organically offer you the behavior and then recognizing it and rewarding it. If he's too far away, just say sit when he sits down. If you're close enough, pet him under his chin and say sit. If you have a treat, you can give him the treat too. But for passive training, I really focus on just saying the word or petting. Now, we also went over petting with a purpose. Petting with a purpose is if he comes in and demands attention by nudging, barking, or pawing at us, we give him a counter order, tell him to sit. When he sits, we pet him under his chin and say the word sit and only the word sit. And do that in general. Try to avoid saying good dog and good sit and good boy. If he comes, pet him and say come. If he lays down, pet him and say crash. If he eats his food, pet him and say the name of the food. Not good eat your food. And try to use one-word commands. And I use watchwords for this. So I say paycheck if I suspect someone's petting without a purpose. So if somebody comes in and sees I'm petting him, he's standing, say paycheck, I stop petting, I tell him to sit, pet him under his chin, tell the person I actually asked the dog to sit, you just missed it. Remember, eventually he's going to start sitting in front of you to prepay for attention. And when he does that, you can go ahead and drop it down onto your knee. That makes it a little bit easier with a stand if you want. But the paycheck is just a gentle way, a reminder for us to let them know, hey, I think you may have forgotten to pet with purpose. Now remember, he will start prepaying for attention when he does. Make sure we recognize and reward him for that, preferably under the chin. Just avoid petting over his head. And I use testify, but you can use any word you want for passive training. So every time he organically offers something, if he walked up to me and I didn't see him, pet him and say the word come. Every time he stretches, pet him and say stretch. Every time he brings you a toy, name each individual toy. And that's going back to the passive training, I guess. So for petting with a purpose, if you want to pet him or he wants attention, he either has to prepay for it by offering a desired behavior, or you tell him to do the desired behavior. When he does, he gets the reward afterwards. Also showed the guardians how to get him to go to the dog bed on command. I would suggest you get 2 more dog beds, have one in the other TV room and one in the office. Probably put this one back there because that's what we're used to. And make sure it's a light cream, white, or light gray and no pattern on it. Dog sign is never very good for color. I don't know if you, or for detail, I don't know if you noticed, a couple of times the treats were on the carpet. He had problems seeing them because you have a pattern on your carpet. I went through this. I have a video on my website showing how to do this, but a real easy way to get your dog to come in while you're outside is just to have a high value treat, let your dog go outside, give it time to fart around, and then walk outside in the middle of your yard and stand there with the treat. Don't lure him. Don't say you have a treat. Don't call him. Just wait. When he comes to you, give him the treat and say, come, then walk back inside. Next, if that was 20 paces in your yard, next time walk out 19 paces. And then wait about a minute in between each one of these, or whatever interval you want. Eventually, he's just going to come to you automatically because every time I come to you, you give me a treat. Good things happen. Kind of how we trained him to use the dog bed. So it's a real easy way to help reinforce coming to us is a good thing, not coming to me represents the end of fun. So that passive training helps with that a lot. We also went over my 4 escalating consequences to disagree with unwanted actions and behaviors. Remember, hiss. Second one is stand up, turn to face the dog, keep it in front of you until he stops moving, then take 2 steps backwards, pause for 1 second. Third one is to march deliberately at the dog until he turns sideways or greater and stop. Then we pivot and we keep our hips pointed at him until he stops moving, then we step back. So the second one and third one are linked. Anytime he's not listening, you stand up and turn to face him. That's the most commanding, authoritative position you can be in. The fourth one is put him on a leash and step on the leash about this far away from where it attaches his collar and wait for him to sit. When he sits, we slide our foot towards him to take the tension off. When he lays down, we very subtly take our foot off the leash, but we don't tell him to sit, we don't tell him to lay. We wait for him to do that on his own. And then after that, if a minute or 2 goes by, he's good, we detach the leash then. If you detach the leash right away, he'll go back to often doing what you don't want him to do. Let me see. We went over a focus exercise. I have videos on my website show you how to do it. I'd like everybody in the family to do that once a day and get within about 5 days, because there's a lot of people in this house, to get to that 15-second focus on that second movement. Remember, you're saying it's the word after it goes in his mouth, and don't pause and go too slow, and make sure he's looking at you. The family, a lot of people were going down, he was looking down. Make sure you can see his eyes and the treat as a triangle the whole time you're delivering. Next stage is to go outside and practice, but then we go back to 1 second, 1 second, until we get up to the point where we can do 15 seconds outside. But when you do it outside, make sure it's not a neighbor dog or anything distracting out there, and let him sniff around first. Then eventually we're going to do it on walks where we're going to cue it, but when you do it on walks, practice before there are any dogs around. He's a little bit reactive to other dogs. So we want to just, when there's nobody around, say, focus, he looks up at me, and I go like this with, so now we're saying the cue instead of waiting for him to look at it off our knee. And eventually you see another dog coming by, you say focus, he looks up at you, you start doing this, and you turn. You walk down somebody's driveway and give the other dog the ability to walk by or take a different path. So you're redirecting him before he gets a chance to react. Once he's reacting, he's hysterical, he's not going to listen to anything you're saying. So make sure that you get him out of there before he's reacting. Also, I like the family to recreate situations where he fails. Like normally when there's people comes over, he's put in the office. And the problem with that is that he starts saying, I'm punished when people come over, because separation from the group is a punishment. So what we want to do is we want to invite a person to come over and practice establishing an invisible boundary around there. The video that we did at the very beginning of the session was teaching him how to stop jumping. Everybody should do that. So all the kids, anytime that anybody comes over, they should call before they knock on that door. And then if somebody does knock on the door, we're just going to grab the leash, step away from the leash and have somebody go answer the door, have them come in and follow the instructions that I have that above. I'd also like to see the family members putting more structure to meeting time. So right now he's got food in the bowl, he eats it whenever he wants. So put the food in his bowl, don't let him eat it. You eat something in 5 or more bites, piece of chicken, preferably something crunchy like a cracker, chips, carrot, celery. You eat in 5 more bites, then you invite him over, say Buster, and tap his bowl. If he comes over, as soon as he comes over and sniffs, he's on the clock. As soon as he walks away, if he takes 5 bites and walks away, as soon as he walks away, I pick up the bowl and dump it empty. If he sniffs it and walks away and doesn't eat anything, I pick it up and dump it. He doesn't eat again until the next meal. I've had dogs go 2 or 3 days before they eat. Hunger becomes your ally, so don't cheat for him. You're giving him an opportunity to eat. He's turning his nose up. But it's the most important activity for your dog, so if you have dominion over the food, that really helps elevate you as an authority figure. All right, make sure that you're, I'm trying to think what else. Always say the command word after the treat goes in the mouth. And use those watchwords, paycheck and all the rest of that stuff. Paycheck, testify, or reward. Make a list of the command words, put them on the refrigerator, and say vocabulary if somebody's using the wrong version of the word. Often I say repeat or rerun if somebody's repeating a word. Remember, the more you say it, the less you mean it. You have 3 seconds to correct or word your dog, so try to be really good on your timing, because timing is really everything. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Anything else we want to go over? I think I summed it up pretty good. If you do have questions or problems, please call me or text me. If I don't hear from you, I assume that means everything's going great. So if there are questions, text me right away. I'll be happy to get you an answer pretty quickly. All right, well, this is Buster, the crazy dog, and this is Buster's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.